What's up, people? This video, we're going to look at this individual right here, the Dark Lighthouse. Somebody asked me to look at his videos and look at his channel, and I don't know why. Honestly, I don't really know why. So we're gonna watch this one. I don't like Breatharian. I've heard of this thing. I mean, does this mean that he only breathes? No, that can't be right. Or he like only inhales food? I'm not really sure. Looks like your kind of typical dreadlock hippie guitar playing vegan kind of guy. I don't really know anything. I know literally nothing about him, but yeah, anyway, I guess we'll just watch this video and see. If you guys have any other videos that you want me to look at, or YouTubers, I guess, who you want me to take a look at and give my opinion on, let me know in a comment, and here we go.
Okay.
It's on.
It's on. Make sure. Okay.
There we go.
We on. Alright, so I wanted to do a quick, like, it's not really a Q&A, but I guess just kind of an interview slash, like, day in the life of Breatharian. How many days has it been since you've eaten? This is my brother, y'all know that.
I haven't chewed food since Black Friday 2018, and it's now June 2019.
Okay.
June 2nd, 2019, so that's
How many days is that?
7 months and about 10 days.
So no chewing at all.
Yeah, just in the beginning it was like smoothies, and every now and again I'd have some soup, and then as liquidy as possible though. And then now I'm just at a point where it's just herbs, green juice, and coconut water. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
I guess for somebody who doesn't know anything about Breatharian, like what is that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Breatharian.
To be consciously utilizing the breath as your main source of fuel, or really just realization, in a sense, because again, you have an immortal energy. You just need to be reminded of it. So it's more so like the breath resets you, reminds you of that immortal energy that has always been here and will always be here. Because
sometimes I wonder, like, I kind of wonder, like, the people who ask me to look at certain YouTubers, like, are you trolling me? Like, are you making me watch these because you know that they're ridiculous and you want me to just like react to something ridiculous? That's kind of what I'm thinking, because like some of the recent suggestions have just been like, I mean, on the one hand, it's good. Like, I'm not complaining. Absolutely not. I love it. Like, please, like, I wish everybody would give me a recommendation for some random YouTuber to like watch and analyze, as long as it's like kind of health related, because it kind of opens my eyes to how to be successful on the platform. Okay, totally selfish, not because I really care about breatharian or vegan or any of that shit, but because it shows me, it kind of exposes me to different concepts of paths to success, let's just call it. Like, what I mean by that is, let's take these people for example. When you brand I don't know if they made this up, this breatharian thing, maybe, but when you brand a certain habit as a diet or as a protocol or something like that, you are able to monetize it, right? A good example, like, okay, I know this wasn't like Snake Diet Guy's original plan, and maybe it was, but the snake diet, is different than just fasting, right? It's called the snake diet, and again, I love Snake Diet Guy. Like, he's probably, I'm going to say, the most, like, if you're going to take anybody's advice on the internet about food, nutrition, exercise, like, take his, hands down. But let's be real, Snake Diet, it's marketable. You can make merchandise about it, you can write a book about it, you can have a YouTube channel about it, you can make supplements about it. Like, it's very merchandisable, it's very monetizable. So anyway, I watched this, I'm like, all right, I'll give my opinion on the actual whatever later, but Breatharian, you could write a book about that. You can build a brand around that. Anyway, sorry, let's continue.
energy can't be destroyed. It was never created or born, never born or dies. So it's more so like the reminder, because some people will just eat foods to fill the void in their body so that they can be reminded of energy. And for a breatharian or an alchemist, rather, whatever you would consider it, if you want to entitle it something.
Yeah.
They're using the breath as the base of their pyramid, and if not just that, but it's just like more so cosmic or alignment energy, dark energy, whatever you want to call it. That's the base of the diet.
Yeah.
It's starting your day with breath, ending your day with breath, using the breath to fully digest things, so you can aid in digestion. Because if you do diaphragmatic breathing after eating, or before eating, your diet will change.
Yo, it's real.
Yeah, because if you eat anything you shouldn't and then you try to breathe, you'll feel what hurts.
It's like a war in your body.
Okay, so that's actually like sane what he said. Okay, the whole like spirit energy, I'm an alchemist, like whatever, I get energy from my fucking spaghetti monster, like, all right, a little out there, bro. But diaphragmatic breathing, okay, I've talked about this before, but when I lived in LA the last time, I was going to yoga classes at Equinox in West LA. Some of the best yoga classes I've ever been to, the best I've ever been to, hands down. And one of the things about yoga which makes it so good is that you're supposed to breathe very deeply, like deep inhales, deep exhales through your stomach, right? Or as much through your stomach as you can. It takes getting used to, and obviously if you want to take a full breath, you do need to put air in your chest as well. Like it's not, they don't really mention that. But anyway, when you do yoga at these classes, you are supposed to hold certain poses and breathe. You're supposed to inhale during certain parts of the pose and exhale during other parts of the pose. Okay, so it number one requires lots of concentration, because you need to think to yourself, okay, this is upward facing dog, I need to inhale. This is downward facing dog, I need to exhale. And then, like this movement, I need to do this, whatever. And the inhales and exhales are supposed to be very deep and through your diaphragm mostly, or as much as possible. So the effect of this, if you do a class that's an hour and 15 minutes, number one, you're doing a lot of stretching, which is already like a lot of good, like just makes you feel good. Number two, it's a lot of like isometric holds, which is essentially where you're flexing muscles in a fixed position, which is also very good. But you're breathing very deeply and very intently or intensely for an hour and 15 minutes, which is going to, like, if you want to look at it like medical terminology, it's going to super oxygenate your blood or super oxygenate your brain. And oxygen, as we know from Fight Club, gets you high. Okay, so these people look like they're a little high, not gonna lie. But anyway, the point, what he said about breathing is good. I'm not gonna say breathing is not good or it doesn't do anything. Like, go do some of these yoga classes in LA and tell me you don't feel different afterwards. Like, makes your entire day better. Oh, and one more thing. The breathing itself, how they said it will change your diet, that is true. There is some truth to that. When I was doing the yoga, I felt like I needed very little additional, let's just call it like hits of dopamine, okay? I needed just very little in life. And you can tell by looking at them, they're very natural looking people, and they seem like they need very little. Like, homie's out here without a shirt, doesn't shave, the girl looks very natural too, like not totally done up. Like, is she wearing a little makeup? Like, I don't know, maybe not, doesn't look like it. They just look like very natural people. And when you do yoga, or when you do, I'm assuming it's just the intense breathing, but my experience with that has only been yoga, so that's why I'm kind of equating the two. When you do that, I didn't feel the need. I actually didn't feel the need to eat any meat. I was eating lots of eggs, but I didn't feel the need to eat meat, and I had plenty of energy, and maybe my mood was a little bit down. I was also broke, so I couldn't afford meat. That's besides the point. But I didn't feel like I needed it. I would go weeks without eating any meat. So yeah, anyway, it will affect the food that you eat. Definitely do yoga.
Yeah, so it pretty much is like emotions are, and logic, like that, those are cool, but the breath is more so a better compass for your direction in life. Yeah, so if you're breathing shallow, then your manifestations will be shallow. If you're breathing deep from your diaphragm, then you have a capacity to be shallow if you feel like it, or be deep. You can toggle.
Yeah.
But if you're just shallow, then you're just gonna be on your dog breath, like, and like, you don't know it, but you hear it, And so when you pant like that, you hear it, and then your heart, whenever you're panting like that, it keeps you in sympathetic nervous system, because it's like your body's not ever really relaxing. It's not taking that full breath. It's not relaxing. So your alignment will always be off, because you're constantly like rushing in the sympathetic nervous system. You're never attracting, because when the body is relaxed, then it can attract. You can accept the breath. You can accept what's really on your path, what's designed for you. So I guess breatharianism is more so just like respect to cosmic arrangement, whether it be your daily arrangement of air, fire, water, earth, and from that it goes backwards too. So you start the day at air, fire, water, earth, so that'd be breath, sunlight, hot water, herbs, or food if you're denser than that, and then you go backwards. Then you go water, hot water, whatever, sunlight, back to breath, and then it goes from breath to, and you just continually go.
Like you had me, bro. You had me until you started talking about like the fire and the air. Like you this is like 50% actual good information and 50% like total nonsense that I guess even if you were kind of to try and understand it on a conceptual level, I guess like, okay, so what this is just lazy communication, okay? In my videos and when I communicate with people, I try to speak as literally as possible and only use metaphors and analogies if I'm really stuck and want to continue with whatever my train of thought is and not get stuck on the right word for an extended period of time, which I find to be a very effective way of communicating, just because you're able to clearly convey your message. I'm like very conscious of doing it now, so I'm like extra focusing on my words, but it's a very effective way of clearly conveying your message in a way that kind of like what it really is it kind of prevents people from getting upset with what you're saying. Like you're able to, this is just totally like off topic here, you're able to say what would normally be considered something very offensive or rude or insensitive if you phrase it in literal terms, okay? Because when you phrase it in literal terms, you're stripping away, right? You're stripping away any sort of social stigma, or what's the word? Not stigma. I don't know. Whatever. The other word for stigma, I can't think of it right now. Stigma. Anyway, stripping away any sort of connotation. There we go. Any positive or negative connotation, and actually just describing things how they are. So what you'll find is that people who rely too heavily on metaphors and similes and analogies, it's really just a result most of the time, unless they are professional communicators and they've studied something like NLP and know actually how to structure that. But most of the time, it's really just lazy people spitting up like phrases and words that they've heard that sound good, and they don't actually go a level deeper and really try to explain what they actually mean. Okay, so for example, why am I even talking about this? When this guy's talking about, oh, yo, dog, you need your like fire and your air and your hot water, it's like, if we want to kind of actually break down what he's saying, like what does he mean by fire? If like he could say that, or what he could have said is like, you start your day and maybe, let's take fire, maybe you want to do some physical activity, right, to make you feel more energized and get your body temperature up, get your heart beating as a result of exercise, which will release endorphins and make you feel good, right? That's fire. But he doesn't say all of that, he just says fire, right? Or he says, and then you want your water, like, maybe that means like, okay, after you have your fire, you want some water, which is going to like be your relaxation and your resting and your cool down period and time for you to just relax and chill with friends, maybe watch a little TV or YouTube or something like that, right? He's not saying all of that shit, okay? Which is why I say it's lazy communication. And like, no offense to these people, they look pretty lazy. Or I guess lazy is not the right word. They look so satisfied from their lifestyle that they don't feel the need to work any harder than they are right now, okay? Which again, like I said, is very common when you do basically lots of yoga. Like when I was doing yoga in LA, that's all I needed. Like I would say frequently, all I need is my life was in total shambles, right? I was not a happy person. I was depressed as fuck. And like, I did not want to be where I was. I had nothing going for me except these yoga classes, and that was enough to make me kind of feel okay about my life. I was like, well, my life is in shambles, but you know what? At least for an hour and 15 minutes a day, I can go to these yoga classes and feel amazing and get a nice little high like for a couple hours afterwards, and like just feel like I'm doing something good. Okay.
With respect to the elemental perfection that is laid out for us.
Right. As far as like when you first went Breatharian to now, is the intake like any different?
Yeah, it's more. It's just more difficult for me to take on more because it hurts quicker.
As far as like smoothies and stuff?
Yeah.
Or just in general?
I just get more full faster, and then like I can feel the stretching of the organs, and I can feel the alignment change, the thoughts shift. Yeah. My energy changes.
Like instantly, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like you feel it. Like as soon as my pancreas has too much of a load and it's just overworked, I can feel it, and then I can feel my thoughts change, and then I can feel the whole process. I can feel the pressure from there on my kidneys. And
so anytime you say, like, whenever I hear people say like, oh yeah, I feel my pituitary gland, like today I was like extra active, secreting even more growth hormone, like yeah, today like I felt my like pulmonary artery. It was like, well, I guess that's different. You actually can feel that. It's just ridiculous. And the problem, right? Let's say if we want to call it a problem, the issue that I have with this type of lifestyle is that it's not an actual. You're not testing yourself on an intense enough level to be able to determine if it's actually healthy, right? Like, let's just say, right? Because I don't know. Like, judging by their bodies, I mean, it's possible they do yoga, but like you can't really tell. Like, she doesn't look very defined. Like, she's skinny for sure, and he's skinny, but there's no like are they doing yoga? Are they doing any sort of exercise, or are they just kind of eating so little and getting, I guess, some sort of cardio done from sitting with, and breathing for 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day or whatever they do. But let's just say they are doing yoga, right? Well, actually, that would be, I guess, a good test, but it doesn't look like they are. So, like, are they really testing themselves hard enough to determine whether or not this, like, breatharian thing or vegan thing is actually good? I don't think so.
Bladder, and, it has a lot to do with the way you take things in, too. If you're stressed out while you're eating... I was
going to say the environment.
Yeah, you should never really have any emotional, like, attachments while you're eating. You shouldn't really... Even if it's water. Yeah. Even if it's drinking water. Yeah. You shouldn't drink water, like, stressed out. Like, you have to do everything pretty much like... Okay, this is gonna be here. It has always existed, so it always will.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's all about how you do things. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we was out of focus. Okay. I don't know if we were out of focus, but what was I gonna say? So yeah, you were on smoothies, and now it's just tea, herbs.
Yeah, I was honestly, to be real, like I really didn't feel like I needed smoothies. Like, on Black Friday, I had like 9 sprouted almonds, and I started crying. Like, I was already fasting so much most of that year, like that fall of last year, and I had my body just was I was like, okay, I realized now, like this is just done. But I was close to people, so it was like, all right, let me transition the best way I can to where I don't create a big disturbance in the people around me and shock them, and because at some level you'd like to share in the experience of not needing and having abundance. So since I had people close to me, I was like, all right, I'll transition with the smoothies and then occasional soups, even though I didn't feel a need for them then. Yeah. But the more I got alone and away from folks and with myself, then gradually it was like, man, I don't want anything. I don't even want to vape weed. I don't, all I really want is what I need and nothing more, because I know everything that's going to give is going to take equally. Right. So it was more like that. Like, I just don't want to have anything more than what I need. It's more about precision nutrition at this point. And because I know anything that I don't need, I'll attract parasites to take it anyway. If I take on something that I don't need, it's like if somebody gave me a bunch of money and I didn't know what to do with it.
It's just gonna be like parasitic money.
Yeah. So somebody, I'm gonna attract parasites to take the money. I'm gonna blow the money. Yeah. It's
buy parasitic things.
Yeah, things gotta be precise. Yeah.
As far as like.
So that's actually kind of intelligent. When you're on a let's call it a deprivation diet, or when you're not eating, or when you're like basically not eating, I guess, because when I was doing the yoga, it was like I said, an hour and 15 minutes. It was fairly intense exercise, and I leaned out a lot. Okay, like I was super lean, and I was fairly fit. Like I had like good definition in my muscles, but it was maybe like, I don't know, 170 or something, which is very lean for me. And I didn't feel like I needed anything, right? Like I mentioned before, I wasn't eating a lot of meat because I didn't feel like I needed meat, right? I didn't feel like I was just like in a good place, like in general. I mean, well, that's not true. I was in a bad place, but I just didn't have the desire for like really anything other than yoga, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Which I don't know if I said this earlier, but it's good and it's bad because, like I said, by traditional standards, my life was not great. I was kind of depressed and I wasn't going anywhere, and I was just kind of, what I felt was not really living up to my potential. But because I had this yoga in my life, I kind of felt better about that, right? Which you could say, okay, on the one hand, it's good that you have this thing that like adds to your life and makes you feel good. But on the other hand, if it makes you feel so good that you're neglecting, that you feel okay about not, reaching your potential in other areas of your life, is it really that good? Okay. And I've said this before as well, but like to obsessively avoid any sort of negative emotion, I think is a mistake. I think negative emotions can be used to guide you towards what you should be doing and away from what you should not be doing, as long as you make a conscious decision as to what you actually want and what you want your life to be like, right? Because if we all did what felt good all the time, we'd all weigh, 1,000 pounds and just like masturbate nonstop. So like, is that really kind of the life that you want to live? Homie doesn't look like he exercises. Good for them, they've got a YouTube channel, but I wonder what else. And again, is it really fair for me to judge them and say like, oh, they're losers, they're not living their life? Like, if they're happy, that's fine. But I would not be happy like this, I don't think. I don't know, maybe I'm just too vain.
Working out, do you work out?
Yeah, I work out. I work out when my whole body wants to. I don't just work out, be out of routine, out of guilt. And the guilt's not really there because I'm not putting anything in my body that needs to be exorcised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't need any exorcisms. So I don't need a self-induced fever every day. I can sit out in the sun for 12 hours a day, and most people can't even do 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
And this is, some people who are darker than me can't do more than an hour.
Yeah.
Just because they're eating garbage that when the sun is in them is going to radiate, and then the garbage is all in here just bubbling and boiling and heating up.
Why you don't need sunscreen, guys?
Yeah, so yeah.
Some of y'all might.
Yep, so yeah, like for me, people are like, man, you're getting real dark. I'm like, semen retention and not eating garbage. Now the sun don't hate me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's that simple. Like, I don't need to work out if I can constantly take sun like that. My body is fully developed. I've done millions of push-ups and sit-ups. I've been in the gym for decades. Like, now it's just maintenance and like doing what the body wants to maintain the physique. And it's like I did all the heavy lifting. Like, I don't, at this point, it's like you can't add to perfection. It's just about returning to your perfection. More so.
So what's I guess like a quick day in the life of a breatharian? How do you?
All right, let's just talk about that really quick. I mean, if you're actually happy with what you have and you don't feel like you need more, then I think that's fine. But if it's just sour grapes and you're like, well, I guess is that really a difference? I was going to say, if you're just saying that because you don't want to put the work, it's not worth it for you to do the work, but that's really the same thing. You are happy with how you are because you see the next level and you don't want to put the work in to do that. But if you do, like, I guess, I don't know, because it's kind of, on the one hand, I want to say, like, if you want to look like this guy, then do what he does. But for those of you who have never tried, extended, I guess, like yoga classes like that, or even this breathing. But honestly, I think that, like, the breathing without the yoga is super boring, and like doing the yoga with like a bunch of hot girls around in a nice gym is like for me the best. But if you've never done that, then it's kind of hard to understand the like very deep level of satisfaction that brings with the rest of your life. So like I totally understand where these guys are coming from like a physiological level, but I've been there, and I think that there's more to life than just doing that. I think with all the opportunity and just like this world that we live in, like how can you not try and go for it, you know? Like, and I guess you can, you know, you can live like them if you want. But with everything that we have available to us today, like you want to live your entire life just like breathing air and not eating food, like, yeah, okay, maybe if you make a lot of money, you'll attract people who want your money. And maybe if you eat a lot of food, you'll have to like put your body through something that will be less comfortable than eating, you know, drinking tea and like eating pea soup. But, you know, isn't it worth it? Like, won't that essentially make you stronger and like raise your like power level, let's just say? I don't know, I think it will, but that's just me, you know. Works for them, like more power to them.
Starting in the day, how do you go through the day? I guess it's not a routine necessarily, but
yeah, I mean, some of it's going to be like a compass depending on your level of toxicity, but like the compass would definitely start off with like the breath, you know, your air first, fire, water, earth. So I'll start off with the breath, and then after the breath, I'll open up all the windows. I try to rise with the sun, do my best to rise with the sun if I can, so that I can, you know, gradually rise like the sun does. It doesn't just jolt out of bed.
Right.
You know, so then gradually rise, breathe, sunlight, and then since water is the next element, I'll get like hot water, warm water, or sun tea or whatever, and then the herbs will be my earth element. And then if it's a parasitic detox, then diatomaceous earth and activated charcoal before the herbs, and then the herbs, and then you use the psyllium husk to push things out, depending on wherever you're at in your stage of detox. Yeah. Because for different people, it'll be different. Some people don't have as much as detox. Yeah. They might wake up and do the breath work and be like, I don't need water till 12. Yeah. And then it's a slower transition from element to element. Yeah. It's not the same.
It's not right.
Yeah. So some people might have to jump to this to stay entertained, so that they don't, you know, so they can stay disciplined. Yeah. But it's more so like just following the elemental flow of that, and then
so it's like the middle of the day, since you're not eating, since that's such a part of everybody's day usually, like what do you be doing?
The middle of the day, I mean, I really, since people go to work for 8 hours a day so that they can buy food, so that they can have energy for work, I just do breath work so that I just have energy and don't have to go to work, and then I can attract money for new experiences, because I just can't do anything redundant at this point. Like, my energy has become more specific, so it has to be new. It has to be an experience that will expand just my experiences. That's really about it. You know, it just has to be something new or a new arrangement. It can't be the same. So it's like just emotional feng shui, really, like, to where I'm doing whatever I have to do to gradually create the next new memory. So every day, I mean, for me, I'm just doing breath work. I do consultations with people. I write a lot. Yeah. So it might make music, whatever it is, depending on the.
Just kind of creating. Really.
Yeah, whatever chi is available to me. Yeah. You know.
So like, all right, video's over anyway. If we take what he said at face value and we strip away all of the like fire element, you know, chi, like all the stuff that like is really just buzzwords that you say to kind of like trigger something in somebody's mind, in my opinion, ineffectively here, because it's just so ridiculous. Like, what the fuck are you even trying to say? If we take a look at what he actually said, like, what do you do all day? Basically, he said he wakes up in the morning, does his breathing work, breath work, and then instead of working, he'll do more breathing, and sometimes I guess he does consultations for people to make money, I guess, to like make enough to live, and then he will do like, he'll basically create content, right? Is essentially what that is. I don't know if it's online content, but you're right, you make music. That's essentially creating content. Those things in and of themselves, I think those are great ways to spend your time. I think that is, You know, if you can support yourself, if you can be broke and create content every single day, I think that's an excellent use of your time. Especially if you have, like, this guy, okay, fine, like, I ripped on him a lot in this video, and the girl too, I guess, but like, whatever. But they clearly believe in this stuff. So like, you believe in it, bro, like, go ahead, you know, do your thing, like, do your breath work, do your consultations, write your books, you know, go ahead, go for it. So I think that's a very good use of your time if you actually have something to say and some sort of opinions you want to express and some concepts that you want to kind of spread out into the world in a more syndicated way through content, right? Somehow I'm thinking this guy, I mean, maybe as a computer, I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know. I guess the point of this video, like the bottom line is that the whole like yoga breathing thing is it can be very good to release stress and to kind of make the rest of your day better. But if your day, like if you have problems that you need to change and you're kind of just masking them with a healthy activity, you know, in my experience at least, for example, like I stayed in LA way too long because I loved these yoga classes. I loved how they made me feel, right? I did them for about 9 months, like 6 days a week. And I just loved how they made me feel so much that it took me a lot longer to change my life when I really should have changed it like way faster. So I missed out on a lot. I don't know if that's why they're doing it. I think honestly, like they're so far gone, like these people are never coming back. But I always like secretly wanted to change, okay? But I guess like, again, like I said, once you derive your livelihood from your opinions, and you get kind of like recognition and fame and whatever for that stuff, it's very hard to go back and change those opinions, okay? So that was my analysis of these lovely people. If you guys have any other YouTubers that you want me to take a look at or videos you want me to take a look at, leave me a comment. Peace.